Hey, welcome back to JB Breaks Free. I hope you're having a great day. Hope you're breaking free, doing whatever you can today. Break free from whatever is holding you back. Today I Instacarted, made about 35 bucks, did 2 batches. It's about 12 degrees outside, so I told myself that, you know what, it's bitter out there. You can learn things, do things at the house that you need to catch up on. So I'm at 160 for the week, which is not great. But I'm going to try to get to my goal of 200, which, is not really bad, all things considering. That would be about 10,000 a year before taxes. And I know I can get to between 10 and 15,000 is kind of where I want to be. So I know I'll get there and I'll be able to go a lot harder, once the weather is at least in the 30s and stuff. And, it's not like my life depends on this right now, but I'm going to try to get 200 bucks a week, which is huge. It's life-changing money for me and I'm sure for a lot of people. Today or last night, I did make a purchase. I've been kind of debating this back and forth, and I did make this purchase as a investment in my eyes. It's not something I'm collecting. I've done this a little bit in the past with some discretionary income. It's kind of a way for me to scratch that itch, and it has paid off in most circumstances. It's, I'm here to flip things. That's my hobby, so I'm going to try to flip this. I bought 1965 Out of Our Heads Rolling Stones sealed vinyl LP. I know I've been going back and forth kind of talking about this. I'd watched it on eBay and didn't look like it was at a good price. I had this money in my PayPal, so it's not going to affect any bank accounts, anything like that. That money is kind of been built up from flips, and I actually try to buy vinyl lots off eBay when I can to flip, or anything that I can flip. So it's in the flip category. As soon as I get it, I'm going to list it, and we'll see how much this experiment works. And part of what I'm thinking, and God forbid I'll cry, is that the Stones are getting up there, and, Charlie Watts just passed, and, God forbid if Mick or Keith ever go. And like I said, I will cry, and it's a morbid thing to think about, but I know, their stuff will become valuable. And I think about this too, like a lot of the classic rockers, unfortunately, those gods, Dylan is my idol. Unfortunately, they're getting up there, and you kind of see it when like Michael Jackson passed away or something like that. The merchandise goes crazy. So, and when my favorite basketball player Kobe passed, the merchandise went crazy. So, if nothing else, hold on to it until that point, that sad point. But I got it. It's beautiful, and I'll try to flip it and see what I can do. I do want to get into today 5 financial truths that the 1% won't teach you, that school won't teach you. And it's really tough because I don't feel like most kids are going to be exposed to this stuff growing up. And there's such basic lessons, and it gets really frustrating. My wife is a teacher, and she does a great job. She does Special K, 9 through 12 at the high school. And, I'm always kind of busting her chops a little bit about I could probably come up with about 20 different things that schools don't really teach you and that just have no impact on your life. They're teaching you just stuff. It's like, what? And all this other stuff could be so good. And a lot of the time she'll be like, oh, it's different now than when you went. But I know a lot of the ways it's not also. But, the first thing would be to pay yourself first. I don't recall that, increased and consistent savings and investment before expenses and before discretionary purposes. Like I just made that discretionary Rolling Stones purchase. I've invested a ton of money. So that's not a big deal. But that was one of the biggest lessons that we had to learn, was to cut down our debt and then to pay ourselves first. So we could actually start saving money. So we could put money in our savings, put money in our checking account, and yes, put money in our retirement funds and in investment vehicles like, Roth IRA and brokerage accounts. So pay yourself first. It's huge. Number 2, financial truth, the 1% school won't tell you, is to live below your means. No one really made that point too clear, and I still don't think it's clear for the vast number of society. People would tell me to save this or that, save a nickel, save money on the gas, don't buy a can of soda at the store. My grandpa would say, come to my house and I'll give you a can, or, stuff like that. Save your money. You can buy a used car, which probably 20 years ago, was, through 2 to 5,000 in cash, and that's good saving, but no one ever really said live below your means. And, we had some credit issues in our household, not by me, but we were not living below our means. Now, my wife just told me with the mortgage paid off, I was looking forward to this first month's savings rate. She's just doing the budget and we're figuring it all out. We're at 65% right now. Our expenses are about 35% as we speak right now. And my wife was saying, and that's with some big purchases like deductibles that we haven't met yet for health insurance, and it just, other things, going out to dinner, and we've certainly made some purchases this month. And I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. Right now, 65% savings rate, and I am going to do a budget video as well, and to kind of talk a little bit about it. And she said it's 65% right now, not including the drawer. And as you've heard in previous videos, every night that I go to work, I take, because I usually get cash tips from being a waiter, I take about $20 to $25 and I stick it in this little drawer. And at the end of the month, I bring it all out, count it up, bring it to the bank, and that goes right into the brokerage. And that's what I'm going to use to buy my time in the future. And so that's not even counting that. So, I mean, we are probably 68% just to meet in the middle, almost 70% savings rate. And we are just getting started with this post-mortgage life. And I can't wait to see, you're going to do this for 10 more years, 12 more years. It's going to be great. So I suggest you guys, break free and live below your means. And I don't want for anything, really. I don't collect a lot of BS. That's really it. But to me, buying my time is more important than that. And maybe if I was at a spot where I didn't need to buy my time, it might be different. But for me, my time is what I value most. And so that's what I'm going for financial freedom. Number 3 of our list of 5 financial truths school won't teach you, or the 1% won't teach you, is 9 to 5 won't make you rich. I thought a little bit about this one, and I'm sure in some circumstances that it can. But what I think this really gets down to, and I'm thinking for just like the average person, I mean, teachers, waiters, prison guards, around this, if you're not the boss of a company or whatever, the 9 to 5 people in a small town, you're not going to be rich. What I think it means is you need a side hustle. And that is where I think you can really start expanding your income. And I didn't hear anything about side hustles. I don't know if side hustles were invented in 1998 when I graduated high school. They were, but boy, I was a little late to the game. But it's in my blood, side hustling. And when they say find a free hobby, that's a fun one. Side hustling and kind of looking for things to flip. I think that's kind of fun. And while it's not free because you got to buy the thing and there's a little risk, but I've had tremendous success once you learn a little bit about your favorite niche. So I think side hustling is going to be huge. And, if I was at school, I'd be like, kids, you're going to go to college and you're going to waste your damn money. If you don't know what you want to do, because schools are not exposing you to jobs in middle school, I don't care, elementary school, middle school, and high school, I don't think you're being exposed to enough jobs. And only a few of those kids really know what they want to do. I guarantee it. They should be big. Don't turn off your phone. Bring your darn phone out and download these 10 apps and let me show you how to go make some money. I got very blessed to work at a restaurant where I make good tips, but, I could make a living with my phone, and I know a lot of people do, and not even side hustling with that, but I do, there's other ways to side hustle, obviously, but I think that's huge. I really think side hustles should be taught, and it's a truth they don't really tell many people about. And number 4, to buy assets and reduce liabilities. This was a major point in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It actually somehow was the first financial book that I read when I was my eyes were open to this world, this great, beautiful world that's become my life's purpose. Buy assets, reduce liabilities. And so many people think liabilities are their assets. Your home is not an asset. Your home is a liability. That takes money away from you. For the great majority of time, you're paying that mortgage. And even if your home is free and clear like mine, we still have about $5,000 of taxes every year. And that's probably going to go up because our house was just assessed. They're doing all the houses. I don't know if it's citywide. I think it is. All the housing properties are going up, which means we have to pay more taxes on it. And yes, a lot of people sell their homes for more than they buy it, and maybe we'll get lucky to do so in 20 years. But for the great majority, your home is a liability. And I think you're going to find, if you research that topic, most people will say the same thing. Other examples, cars. Your car is not an investment. The second you drive it off, it becomes a liability, and car payments keep the middle class poor. Check out the average monthly car payment. We have no mortgage and 2 cars paid off, and we'll never have a car payment again or a mortgage. Tremendous. And that's why I'm now buying my time. If you go back and check out the earlier videos, I'm saving up to buy my time from 50 to 55 right now. And it's fun. Every $100 is going to get me closer to that. And there's nothing else that I really want to spend my money on. I want my time more than anything. Clothes, credit card debt, school loans, all liabilities. Assets move money in. Stocks, bonds, certificates of deposit, real estate income, once you start making monthly income from that. So do some research, buy assets, reduce liabilities. Finally, the stock market is greater than a savings account. This is definitely not taught so much in school. Certainly junior high, I think this stuff should be taught at the earliest levels, some basic understanding. I remember a lot of times, I've probably told the story on the channel, I'm just a waiter. I don't get to invest. I'd hear my boss talking about stocks and individual stocks, and, he has probably more money to play with a bit on individual stocks. And then I did my research, and it's like, no one can pick the stock market. Nobody. A few people, a handful a year, and then they can't do it again the next year. So the best thing to do is the stock market, I think annually the S&P gets 10% throughout its history or whatever. The stock market over time, over the long haul, 30 years, 40 years, goes up. There's little dips in between, but it always goes up. So there is risk, though, in the short term. It could heavily crash. It heavily crashed at the beginning of the pandemic. But I think the best way to do it, and do your own research, but what I saw from the simple path to wealth is basically to buy low-cost index funds. You don't need a money manager. The fees are too high. Low-cost index funds where you get the whole stock market, and then kind of do a stock-bond ratio, and you just set it and kind of forget it. And, there's people that will agree and disagree with that, but for me, it took a lot of the mystery and worry out of investing. It made investing very accessible to myself and my wife, and it's done good for us. And what market crashes happen, and they're going to happen again in my life, and you got to stomach it. That's when you got to have the steel ones, and you gotta hold on, because if you take your money out, it's not good, because you're going to miss those days that the market comes back. You got to put your money in and do your own research, but then you got to hold it. And I'd like to think that I am up for that challenge. So to recap, I'm side hustling this week. I'm going to get to my $200 goal. I bought a sealed stones record for a good price. I'm going to try to flip that, and I'll do a good video on it when I do. I'll list it once I get it. And then 5 things that the 1% in school won't teach you about finances. Pay yourself first. Live below your means. Your 9 to 5 won't make you rich. Side hustle to get your freedom. Buy assets, reduce liabilities, and invest in the stock market. Guys, do your own research. I'm here for you. There's lots of other things we got to tackle. I'm looking forward to just growing this channel and doing the best I can, and we can do the best we can together. And I will see you tomorrow.